Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, April 16th. Take Action Tuesday. Excited for what's to come today. Morning, Mr. Fazio. How are you doing today?
Good, man. I'm just sent over a little contract for a 0% interest seller finance deal.
Let's go. It's so funny, man. It's like wholesaling is one of those businesses where you can be like, man, I don't know how this is gonna work, and then all of a sudden you get a deal that just completely changes everything. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We got Mr. Pena in the audience. We got Carter, CT, Rush Elliott, Miss Pansy, Matt, Daniel, Andy, two Andys. We got Naomi, still calling that lead, but they haven't picked up. Got Mr. Q. Appreciate the kind words, man. A lot of heavy hitters today, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Take Action Tuesday. Let's talk about one thing that everybody can do to take action and get one step closer to where they want to go in their business. Dan already shared that he's getting an agreement signed today, seller finance, 0% interest. Fantastic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Last night I had a lead come in Clarkston, Georgia, and this is a condominium. The seller told me that he wanted 20 grand. Told one of my callers, one of the lead managers, that he wanted $20,000. He called me immediately. I got right on the phone with him and I negotiated. I hit him with a counter offer at $7,500. We got to play that audio. We got Rowan in the audience here with us today. And we came back and I got him to verbally agree to $12,500. His estimate on this property is $179,000. As is, comps are selling for 60 to 65. So we're gonna get him to sign that today and hopefully get that one assigned. Ladies and gentlemen, we got 35 people joining us this morning. What is everybody in here doing to take action today? Let us know in the side chat or raise your hand, come and join us up on the stage. We don't just come in here to yip yap. We really come in here to do this business. Nick 18 says 17K assignment should be coming in a few weeks. Let's go.
Since there's not too active right now, maybe I can help out.
He's always running on a potato, bro. He always be coming in here fucking.
I just jumped on stage just to like start some shit and have hands to the pot.
This motherfucker always be glitching out. He'll be in the middle of a point and he'll disconnect. I love it.
I'll be like, hey, seller, let me call you back. I need to jump on this coffee and closers real quick.
Hey, we appreciate the motivation.
Tuesday, what we got popping? Can y'all hear me or no?
You're cutting out a little bit.
Hold on.
We can hear. He's always cutting out, but we can hear it. he's Dante's always joining us live from the surfboard.
I want to know why only one or two people have shared that they're doing something to take action this week. I mean, are we really in here taking action, or what's the point of being here? How many of us are really doing this? And if you haven't got anything to share, talk to us about why that is. Why is it that you feel like you don't have anything to share? Why don't you have a deal under contract? Why haven't you been talking to leads? What's the bottleneck?
I think so many people are overthinking it. Like I was just talking to, I don't know if he's in here right now, but I was just talking to Jerry yesterday, and we were talking about a few things, and and I said, man, I think the bottom line is, I think you're just overthinking it. I think you're overthinking the skill set that you need. I think you're overthinking the processes that you need. I think you're overthinking the whole entire process. Like, I really tell you, listen, I'm all about, I'm the systems guy, right? I'm all about like KPIs, systems, this and that. But listen, when I first started, I really had nothing. you see what I'm saying with this guy? Here we go. Here we go again. No, I'm just, what's up, Dante?
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
I got you.
Because I was talking and
You're clear. You're crisp. We couldn't hear you for a minute.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
No, like I think the bottom line is the biggest thing that I see with a lot of people that that aren't closing deals. It's one of two things. Either those of you all who are either overthinking it, and then that's one reason, and then those of you who are not overthinking it, the rest of you all just aren't doing enough. So it's one of the two, right? It's like not consistency, not doing enough, not really taking direct action. That's one of them, or you're just overthinking the whole entire thing. You're trying to dig too deep, and it's not getting you anywhere. So that's and realistically, listen, I'm the systems guy. I'm the KPIs guy. I'm all about the devils in the details type of guy. But in the beginning, to get to that first deal, you really don't need to know shit. You don't need to be perfect with everything. You don't need to be, the biggest people that I see get to their deals the quickest, the first deal, the fastest, are the people that they just take imperfect action and make mistakes every single day. And eventually and sometimes like those are the people that piss me off sometimes, because they'll lock up deals that don't make sense, and they'll do this or that. But at some point they figure it out and they make money, and then they refine their process. But I truthfully think in the very beginning, I really just think that you all just need to just take more imperfect action, make more mistakes. I'm not encouraging people to lock up deals that don't make sense, right? Don't try to make a deal out of every lead that comes into your wheelhouse. But what you need to do more of is you need to quit thinking that you need to be the perfect closer, that you need to say the perfect things, that you need to have the perfect SMS count, or the perfect cold calling numbers, or the perfect dial numbers, or the perfect talking hours. Or in the beginning, it just doesn't matter. Just pick up the phone and call till your ears fucking bleed, or your eyes are so fucking fried that you just have to get off of your computer. And I know it sounds crazy, but if you really want to do this and you really want to be in this business, just do that and really say, do I really want this? And if so, how much am I going to prove it to myself? If I really want it, do I really want to prove it to myself that bad?
Let me add to that. So what I say to people that are struggling, whenever I'm talking to them, it's for 3 reasons, right? You guys ready for this? 3 reasons. Number 1, it's either your attitude, your pitch, or your work ethic. So how's your attitude when you're on the phone? Are you getting egged out? Are you taking so many no's that it's like actually affecting you? Or are you not allowing the no's to affect you and you keep pushing through? Is it your work ethic? Are you, hitting your KPIs like you should? Because everyone should be having KPIs. This is a numbers game. It's a contact sport, right? So if you're not contacting and wondering why you're not closing deals, well, maybe try contacting more. So And then number three is your attitude, or not your attitude, but your pitch. So how's your pitch sound? There's been times where I pitched on the phone and I completely fucked up my whole thing. I was like, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Let me just call you back and try again. Click, hang up, call back. Believe it or not, that actually works sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. So attitude, pitch, work ethic, you can have those three things. I think it'll definitely help out.
Let's talk about that, man. I see that there's some people in the chat that are probably just too scared to get on the phone, or that when they get on the phone and they hear no, like it demoralizes them. I want to give an actionable step for anybody that's feeling like, uh, you know, they get affected by the people on the phone telling them no. And I'll tell you why it's so important to get out of that mentality where the rejection is paralyzing. And I'll tell you why, okay? Because if you're too afraid to hear the word no, you won't be able to negotiate in a way that you're going to get the best deal. And
Facts.
I say that because I just got off the phone with somebody last night. He said he wanted 20 grand for a condo, and the first rebuttal I had was I explained, how we're going to purchase the property, the benefits of working with me, and then I said, okay, well, if we're going to take care of all the closing costs, would you consider $7,500? Okay, that's less than half of what he wants, what his asking price was. And he laughed. He laughed on the phone. He laughed on the phone, and he came down on his number, right? He said, well, I mean, if you're gonna take care of closing costs, would you do 15,000? I said, all right, well let's make it 12.5 out and call it a day. Okay? He said, and you take care of all the closing costs? I said, yeah, we're gonna take care of all the closing costs, we'll buy it as is. He said, all right, let's do a deal. All right, now he said last night that he was driving back home, I'm gonna send him the contract and everything today. This guy does sound sincere, that he does want to sell at that price point. He's ready to let go of this place. But here's the deal, man. If I was too afraid to hear no, I would not have been able to make that pitch. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have been able to negotiate. All right. And I'm not sure who's in the audience or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you something, and I hope that everybody hears this, and I hope that without me having to say this, everybody hears what I'm having to say. It is very important to be able to hear no. It is very important to be able to hear rejection. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're too afraid to get rejected, you'll never try. And if you never try, you're never gonna win. You're never gonna get what you want. So you gotta be okay with getting rejected, right? And sometimes you get rejected a lot, but that's another beautiful thing about follow-up, right? Maybe no doesn't mean never. Maybe it means not right now, And if you're the one following up, if you're the one who's on top of it, you're gonna eventually find yourself at the perfect time, right? Because you're there. So apply that to all aspects of your life and see how that treats you, man.
I think
it works out well.
I think also you got to look at it. Why are we getting no's, right? What does that mean? So what is causing the no? Is it no on an offer, right? And if it's no on an offer, does their motivation still qualify? And if you guys remember, I did a whole breakdown on seller follow-up based on their response to what the conversation is, right? And you're going to run into those people occasionally that have high motivation and have high likelihood to sell, but their price is unrealistic. So their price doesn't make sense. That still qualifies them as a hot lead because they still qualify out of two of the three, categories. I would actually suggest at that point that it's not the seller or it's not the lead, it's your ability to exit on the deal. You're too limited on your exit strategies. So what you can do in that sense is that's when you qualify those 2 out of 3 and you realize you can't make the price or one of them work, you that's when you can give it to someone else who has more tools in their tool belt to see if they can do something with it, right? But like, I was talking to someone in here yesterday. He's not in here right now, but I was trying to prove to him that he was going to waste my time with this lead. And he said, I listened to you in the call yesterday talk about the sub 2 stuff, and you tell us to come to you or come to Matt or come to John or come to Dante when we need a lead, to talk to about sub 2 or seller finance or novation. He's like, but then when we actually bring you a deal, then you don't want to get on the phone because you say it's going to waste your time. You're not giving anybody any leeway. And so I want to clarify on that statement. And so just to prove him wrong, I said, all right, let's call the seller. I'm going to prove you wrong. So we jumped in the clubhouse late last night and we called the seller live for everybody who was around. And I got out of him in about 2 minutes on the phone. I got out of him that the seller's not even interested in selling for maybe even a year.
Boom, qualified, disqualified.
Disqualified. And I said, how did you not get that in the first 2 minutes of the phone? How did I get to that? I said, I'm just proving to you that, I said, when I tell you something, it's not because I'm saying it to be a dick or to be an asshole or whatever. Sometimes I am a dick and an asshole sometimes. So it is sometimes that.
Sometimes y'all need that.
Sometimes. Sometimes I am just an asshole, but like, but in that case, I really wasn't. In that case, I actually wasn't. I was being dead ass. I was being serious. Like, I mean, I was being serious that I really knew off the top, because why? Because I was asking him, I said, explain to me why a sub 2 benefits him more than listing it on the market. If he has equity in the property, why does a sub 2 benefit him more than listing it on the market? And he couldn't give me an answer. And so I knew from that point, it's a waste of my time because he doesn't even understand the seller's motivation. I said, what's the seller's motivation for even selling? Oh, I don't know. How long did you talk to the guy? 20 minutes. You talked to a guy for 20 minutes and you didn't understand why he needs to sell his home? How do you talk to someone for 20 minutes and not even understand why they need to sell their house? So going back to my original point, figure out why they say no. Are they saying no to your offer, or are they saying no, they're not interested in selling? If they say no, they're not interested in selling, if you're getting beat up on those leads, well, then you just need more leads. That's how you fix that problem. You're tired of people telling you they don't want to sell their house? You just need more leads. Easy fix. Quit
for the most
expecting.
part is people are trying to convince people to sell their properties, and what you guys need to realize is these are like people's biggest assets that they might buy only maybe once or twice in their entire life. And so you're trying to convince them to sell this thing. You don't need to convince people of shit. You just need to find the person. It's a search, not a sell. You just need to find the person that's interested in selling. And then when you find out when they're interested, why are they interested? And I feel like a lot of people don't figure out the why as much. And then when they do get the why, they kind of blow over it and don't even realize what the pain point was to begin with. And that's the fact of the matter. So we have, one deal right now, a lady wants to move back to Florida. Okay, so the pain point for her is she needs money to go back to Florida. So selling the house is going to be that money. So we need a harness on that pain point to make sure you drive it home. Not, oh, maybe you should, why? Oh, I'm not interested in selling. Well, why aren't you interested? Why aren't you interested? No, who cares? Sometimes it's just timing. Timing is a lot in this business. And a lot of the times when I've closed a deal is because the timing of when I reached out to them. I've also reached out to leads in my CRM that have already sold a lot of times, which means they were interested in selling, but I either didn't get to them fast enough, I didn't properly qualify, et cetera, right? So like, you guys, this is where active listening comes in extremely. Active listening. So do you want to sell? Why do you want to sell? Right? What's the timeline? Oh, look at that. Alan already threw it all on there. And what's your price? There you go. Pretty simple. So, and then when you build rapport, it makes it easier, because I think a lot of these people, they have these walls when they first get on the phone with you, because you're getting a million people calling for the same thing. So when that happens, there's always a wall that's put up. So, you got to bring that wall down by building a little rapport as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to like literally. This goes back to what I'm saying. So I would just like to know, like Adam, for instance, are people saying no to your price, or are people just not interested in selling? I don't know what your no's are related to, but if the no's are just people not wanting to sell, that's fine. That's a really easy issue to solve. I just need more people, right, to talk to. If the no's are they're turning away my price, then I need to figure out what am I doing wrong. If these people are motivated enough, what am I doing wrong? Am I going after the wrong type of leads? Am I going after the wrong type of deals? Do I just not have enough exit strategies on my tool belt? Um, all these things. Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't consider those people, what's your offer, or give me an offer, I'll consider. I don't really consider those people leads. Those people are, that's kind of like a spin the wheel type of lead at best. So you need more types of qualified sellers. So you need to figure out how you're getting your leads, what you're doing, what type of marketing are you targeting. So what market are you targeting? Are you targeting maybe too much of a higher income market? Maybe you need to go a little bit lower income. And then also it goes back to what I said yesterday. If your skill set, if your skill set is not at a very high level yet, you need to be targeting more lower income individuals. And that's not really a shot at people in lower income areas. I have some great people in those. I come from a very low income, area in the country. But the point is, what I'm saying is there's people who are a lot easier to talk to, and a lot of times they're more motivated because why? Because they need money and they need cash. The more higher income you get, the more people don't necessarily need that money in their pocket today. It becomes harder to find those people, and then the most of the people that you're going to talk to are people that don't really need that money. They don't need that money up front. So therefore, what happens is if you don't have the tool sets to actually close on those people, then what happens is that you're not, they're going to turn down your cash offer, and then that's it. So just keep those things in mind. But if you guys want to know what we need before we talk to your leads, if you want us to talk to somebody, if you want us to talk to them about innovation, creative, anything like that, we need to know why they really want to sell. What is really pushing them? What is really a situation that is causing them to move forward? Why does it benefit them to work with us over just listing on the market, taking their time, negotiating out the highest offer the set that the buyers can bid on? What is their motivation there? That's the most important thing before everything else. And if you don't have that, then you haven't qualified that lead, and I'm not going to talk to him because it's a waste of my time.
So let's break it
So
down here, Dan, for the people that are listening, right? And let's tell them exactly what a qualified lead is going to look like. And I can give you an idea, for an avatar to chase, right? It's going to be somebody that typically has to move. They have a sense of urgency, right? They have a timeline within the next 30 to 45 days. You want to work with someone who's going to work with you in the next 30 to 45 days, okay? If they need a little extra time to move their stuff or whatever, that's fine. But they want to take action now. You don't want to be wasting your time trying to convince people to sell in the next 6 months, a year from now. Put them on a follow up, put them on a drip campaign, whatever. Don't worry about those people. Worry about the people that are looking to sell right now. Find those people that are ready to take action immediately. Okay, they need to have an urgent timeline. They need to sell. Okay. Now, when it comes to their motivation, understand their situation. Why is it that they are looking to sell? Oh well, this guy, he's going through a situation where he just brought a kid into the world, and now he needs to sell one of his assets that he's got to pay for the child. Like there has to be some sort of reason. The house being sold is just a solution to somebody's personal problem. So you need to listen to somebody's personal problem. They have to want to sell in the next 30 to 45 days, and they need to have a personal problem that selling this house and getting the money, the proceeds from that house is going to help them solve. Okay, another personal problem could be that they're facing foreclosure. Okay, they're behind on their bills. They can't catch up anymore. They don't have an option anymore. They can't keep up with this. They don't want to get a foreclosure on their record, right? So that's a potential problem. right? And the solution is, okay, well, I'm going to sell my house. Does that make sense to everybody in the chat? Let me know if you guys are understanding what I'm saying in the chat about these personal problems. Perfect. So we got somebody that's listening. So the next thing you want to find out is the condition of the property. Typically, we're looking for properties that are not in the best shape, all right? If they are in the best shape, that doesn't necessarily disqualify that seller. It just typically means we have to approach this a little bit more creatively, meaning sub 2, seller finance, novation, because a cash offer isn't going to make sense for somebody like that. It's not going to make sense for an investor to go and try to offer you 70 cents on the dollar for a property that's worth full market value, right? I'll give you an example of that. Why you want to use a creative offer, for somebody that has a property that's really in good shape, but they're in a sticky situation. Okay, I'll give you the most recent example that I have. This militant, right, active military guy. He bought a house. Now it's a beautiful house. It's in perfect condition, but he's got to move. So he has urgency. All right, he's got to take action in the next 30 to 45 days. Okay, and from there, he also doesn't have equity, all right? That's his problem. He can't list this on the market and sell, because if he were to sell on the market, he'd have to come out of pocket to sell his house, all right? Does that make sense so far? So the solution that we offer to him is, because he has a low interest rate, and keep this in mind, this will not work. You cannot solve everybody's problem with this solution. Like Matt beautifully showcased the other day, it was a great seller. They wanted to do business, but they were just in a situation that this solution would not solve their problem. With that being said, now because he had a low interest rate and we could get into the deal for $0 down, it makes sense for somebody to give us 12, 15% to get into that deal. And that's where we offer them that type of solution. But the way that we're looking at these leads when we qualify them is, what is their situation? Meaning, what is their personal problem? What is their motivation? Why are they looking to sell? How quickly are they looking to sell? Are they really somebody that's looking to take action in the next 30 to 45 days? Or are they just kind of entertaining the offer, testing the waters, just curious to know what their house is worth? Don't waste your time on those people, all right? There are people out there that need to sell in the next 30 to 45 days, and they are waiting for somebody like you to call them and help them out, all right? The next thing is the price. How much is it that they want for the property? And how much is the property really worth? Because some of these properties really are beat up, busted, and they're not worth full retail value, but some of them are. Some of them actually are in great condition, right? So if the property is in great condition, a wholesale offer is just not gonna make sense for somebody like that, even if they have the urgency and even if they have the motivation, because the property's worth more. Now, you have to come out with a creative solution to somebody's problem like that, right? Talk to them about potential novation and listing it on the market, or if they've got a low interest rate, assuming it, or not assuming the mortgage, but taking over payments for them. If they own the property, they have all the equity, consider, seller financing, right? But here's the beauty of all of that, ladies and gentlemen. When you're on the phone and you're listening and you're diagnosing the seller, because I want more people to really start believing and stepping into this role that they are almost a doctor on the phone. Like, you need to be really diagnosing these people. These people are your patients, all right? And you need to really look at each patient and understand what their problem is. And so with that, we're not going to be prescribing medicine. We're going to be prescribing an offer, all right? An offer that makes sense to them. And so with that being said, if you're a pediatrician and you just do basic checkups, you're not going to be operating on somebody who needs like open heart surgery, right? But hey, you can give them a referral to somebody like Matt Riley, who does creative and that will structure these deals, because he's that open heart surgeon, right? He's the one who's going to solve their problem, right? But you're just a nurse. You're an entry level nurse, right? You're not even really a surgeon or anything. You don't even know how to use the instruments yet, right? So don't think that you're gonna just enter a hospital and put on a robe, assume the role of a surgeon, having never operated on anyone, right? It's the same thing with real estate. Don't jump from just
But
hearing
but
about
but don't diagnose either. Don't diagnose as the nurse. Listen, in the medical industry, we have one rule. Only the MD can diagnose.
Right, Dan,
So
but what's important that they understand is that they just ask questions, right? They have to gather information. That's what the role is.
right, but I'm saying don't run to us. Don't run to me in my DM saying I have the best sub two deal in the world. It worked. It's so great. I have the best sub two. Can you call it for me? Well, why is it the best sub two deal in the world? Well, he owes 800,000 and it's worth 950 and blah 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 blah. But he has a 2.2% interest. Okay, but why is it for him? You just told me why it works for you. But why does sub 2 work for him? Well, I don't know. That's why I thought you could get on the phone and pitch it. I mean, are we being serious? It's not. Yeah, you might not be able to pitch it 100%, but you can't diagnose somebody for a sub 2 deal. But that's not even what they're asking. Like you can't have somebody that comes in the hospital and says like, oh, I have this cut in my right shoulder or whatever. And they run out and they say, I think this guy has cancer, right? Like you can't. I think this guy qualifies for cancer treatment. Like you can't say that, right? Like you need to understand the problem.
Let's ask this then. For everybody that's in here, for the people maybe that are newer to the industry and that really want to take this serious, ladies and gentlemen, people that really do want to take action today, would you all feel like you could benefit if we open up a spot where you could actually submit the conversation and submit the types of leads, right? So you gather the information, and then if you don't know what to do with it in a cash offer, at 50 cents on the dollar does not make sense for that seller. Would you like a space to submit these sellers to be reviewed and be diagnosed by wholesalers, creative finance experts, and other types of experts, novation experts in the Discord? And that's not going to solve your problem of taking action. You still got to be the one to get on the phone and talk to these people at the end of the day. That's the bottom line. But we could at least offer that to people, that are taking action and that may come across somebody that just won't work for cash, that maybe doesn't know how you could help this person. You could at least submit it to somebody that could potentially tell you this is the best solution.
I don't have time.
I'll make time.
I really only want people coming to me when they're like, hey, this works for a sub 2 or this works for innovation. This is why I think it works for XYZ. And this is because of the seller's situation of XYZ. This is why I think that it would benefit them if somebody could get on the phone. And I broke it down in a rough sense, right? I broke it down in a rough sense. Can you get on the phone and really, and they're still interested. Can you please get on the phone with them and really break it down a little bit further? I just think a lot of times it's such a waste of time, and I proved it to the guy yesterday. It was such a waste of time because the guy's not even ready to sell. What in the world? The guy wasn't even ready to sell for a year. And then we got off the phone and he was like, oh man, he didn't even get to that. I was like, how do I get to that piece of information in the first, but we're not even at the 5-minute mark of the call. And I already know that this guy doesn't want to sell for a year. How did you not get to that in the first, 5 seconds? Then he's like, well, I don't need to sell. Like, that's the first thing the guy said. Well, okay. Well, why wasn't that relayed to me in the very beginning? It's like, those are the things that I'm talking about. And I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to deter you guys from not coming to me if you have a deal, or not coming to me if you have a lead that you think works. But just because someone responded to your text message and said, hey, yeah, I might be interested in something, that's not a lead to me. I don't know anything about it. Like, I'm there to really provide real acquisitions to the lead, not to sit there and do lead management for you. I'm not there to qualify the process, to qualify the exit strategy, to qualify everything that this person needs. Well, an ideal qualified lead for me is you can break it down. You can break it down for me why this person. Listen, Dan, I got this guy and he needs to sell because he can't pay his fucking water bill and his water got shut off last month and he's having a hard time and he just can't afford the payments anymore on his house. But at the same time, he knows that he can't go and sell it on the market because the house needs work and it ain't worth 800K and he's still got, 820,000 on, on the mortgage is what he's telling me. I think this might work because he's actually a veteran and he's got a 2.2% interest rate. I think this is someone who could really qualify for a sub 2 deal. Would you be able to get on the phone and actually pitch him the details of what a sub 2 transaction might look like? Hell yeah, I'm down. Anybody be fucking down, right? Because that is qualified. Hey Dan, I got this person. They really need to sell their home, but they really need this price, and they're not in a super rush, but they need to be able to sell within the next 6 months or so, and they need their house is in really great condition, so they're not really willing to sell for a super steep discount, but at the same time that they don't want to go the route of working with a realtor and all this stuff. I think this may qualify for innovation. What do you think? Hell yeah, it qualifies for innovation. Let me get on the phone with him. Let me talk about it. But don't come to me and say you diagnosed the seller, right? Don't get on the phone with me and because you asked him a few questions about their mortgage or you asked him a few questions about here and there and you go, oh, sub two, seller finance, and you get on the phone with me and, oh, hey, Dan, I got this lead. It's going to be the greatest seller finance, the greatest sub two deal in all of history. And I go, why? And you go, well, it's because of the fact that this guy has such a low interest rate, right? And he doesn't really want to go on the market or whatever, blah 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 blah. And but he doesn't really want to go for the price that I'm offering. So I thought maybe it could work for a sub two. Okay, but why? What is his situation? Well, we didn't really get to that. Call him back. Get to that. Find out why. Why? Really get into the individual and why they need to sell. That's what I mean by qual. I don't know how I can make that any more clear. That's qualification. Does everybody understand what I'm saying there? Is like you gotta pitch me on the story as if I'm the buyer. Pitch me on the story as if I'm the buyer and why this is the greatest deal. Why this person fits this type of exit strategy and what about their situation makes this the ideal scenario for me. That's a qualified lead to me. But a qualified lead for lead management, that might just be someone who's interested in selling. Does everybody understand the difference between the two? Like, qualified motivated seller might be someone that just responds to a text message or fills out a form. But qualified to me means that you have concluded, you've written the storybook on this seller, and you can present to me the reason why this person not only needs to sell their home, but also needs to sell their home for this type of deal. Do you guys get the difference between the two? Hopefully. Somebody tell me in the chat, please. Okay. That's the difference. That's what makes a lead qualified.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, I want to hop back onto the phones. I want to get into the workday today. I hope that y'all have an amazing rest of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, REI Revolution is the #1 most valuable real estate community in existence. If you haven't already, please consider inviting someone you think will benefit from being in proximity with us by sending them that link, discord.gg/REIRev or reirev.com.
I guess we're signing off, guys. Take care, everybody.